One of the most iconic brands in the North American automotive industry will make its Formula One debut in 2026. After years of failed attempts and behind-the-scenes speculation, the automaker that was once synonymous with luxury and power on the roads will finally take on the biggest stage in world motorsports. But this entry is no ordinary entry. It is happening in partnership with none other than Andretti Global, a team with a big name on the tracks in the United States. And with the direct support of General Motors, the project promises to be much more than symbolic. Cadillac arrives with a thirst for prominence, its own technology, and the ambition to put the United States flag back at the top of Formula One. The big question now is, who will fly this rocket? Cadillac's driver selection is one of the hottest stories of the current preseason. And the reason is simple. We're talking about a completely new project, with 2 available seats and a driver market that is moving like never before. There are experienced veterans looking for a new chance, promising youngsters dreaming of their debut, and even IndyCar drivers trying to cross the ocean to F1. But why does all this matter so much? Because the driver selection will define much more than the team's initial performance. It will show what Cadillac's true plan is in Formula One. Will they bet on the experience of a Bottas? Will they take a risk with a young talent like Drugovich? Or will they make a marketing move with an American driver like Colton Herta? But wait, before you start speculating or guessing names on Twitter, stay with me until the end of this video. Because, in addition to showing you the most popular names, I'm going to reveal what really can weigh on the scale. Does the experience of a driver accustomed to the F1 grid count more? Leave your like and subscribe to the channel. And of course, when a new team arrives in Formula One, the search for big names in the market becomes a priority. After all, you can't build a solid foundation with just promises. You need to have someone who knows the way, who has already smelled the podium, who knows how to navigate the turbulence of a project still under construction. And in this scenario, Valtteri Bottas appears as the main name considered to lead Cadillac in 2026. Behind the scenes, talks between Bottas and Andretti are already well underway. The newspapers make it clear that he is currently the favorite for one of the 2 spots, and that his experience is being considered an invaluable asset for the team's debut. It's the old story. It's better to have a driver who knows the shortcuts than 2 rookies lost in a sea of variables. And there's more. Bottas is also known for being extremely collaborative in the development of the car, something that, for a rookie team, can be the difference between a frustrating first year and a solid learning campaign. With him in the cockpit, Cadillac gains a reference on the track and an engineer off it. But Bottas isn't the only experienced name circulating in the Andretti corridors. Another veteran who could appear in this fight is Sergio Pérez. Imagine the scenario. Cadillac is betting on an experienced Latino driver with a huge media following and a massive fan base in Mexico and the United States. That, coupled with his ability to protect tires and score points even in middling cars, makes him a realistic and interesting option. Sure, Pérez's performance in qualifying and on the opening laps has always been his weak point. But in a 20-car field where consistency can mean millions of dollars in prize money, that might be more than acceptable. Plus, having Checo on board would bring instant global visibility to the Andretti Cadillac team, especially in the markets where F1 is growing the most. The big question here is, will Cadillac go with Bottas, betting on his technical and consistent profile, or will it go with Pérez, aiming for a complete package of marketing, experience, and political influence in the paddock? Let us know what you think in the comments. But a new team doesn't only have veterans. That's where one of the most interesting pieces of this puzzle called Cadillac 2026 comes in, Felipe Drugovich. The Brazilian, Formula 2 champion in 2022, is the name that appeals most among the young drivers available on the market. And the most curious thing is that, even with an impressive title and excellent performances as a reserve for Aston Martin, Drugovich has not yet had his deserved chance as a regular in F1, which makes this opportunity with Cadillac even more symbolic. Drugovich is seen in the paddock as an extremely technical driver, with mature race reading and a professional demeanor that pleases any team. The Brazilian has been working behind the scenes, testing cars, participating in free practice sessions, and, most importantly, patiently waiting for its time. While other high-profile drivers have accelerated their careers with the support of major sponsorships, Drugovich has chosen a quieter but equally strategic path, positioning himself as a solid, reliable talent ready to take on a starring role when the right job comes along. And now, with Cadillac needing to assemble a balanced lineup, he fits perfectly into the young guy with a high-ceiling profile that any team would love to have. Another name that appears strongly on this list of bets is Mick Schumacher. Before I continue, please like and subscribe to the channel so that the YouTube algorithm recommends this video, and let's go. The surname needs no introduction. Son of seven-time world champion Michael Schumacher, Mick had his chance at Haas, but suffered with an uncompetitive car and ended up leaving the F1 grid after 2 lackluster seasons. Since then, he has remained as Mercedes reserve driver and, more recently, has started racing in the World Endurance Championship, where he is trying to revive his career. For Cadillac, having Mick Schumacher on board could be an interesting move in several aspects. In addition to the visibility that the name brings, the driver would have the chance to mature within a new team, without the exaggerated pressure he suffered at Haas, and with the possibility of building a new narrative for his career. The question, however, is whether the Andretti Cadillac team would be willing to take this technical risk in exchange for the marketing value. Because, unlike Drugovich, who has a consistent and upward trajectory, Mick still raises doubts about his ability to deliver solid results inside the car. Ultimately, it is more of an emotional than a strategic bet, and this could weigh on the final decision. And if there's one card Cadillac can play, it's the nationalist. After all, we are talking about a team that carries not only the name, but also the symbolic weight of officially representing the United States in Formula One, with direct support from General Motors and a clear interest in exploring the commercial potential of the North American market, which, by the way, is currently one of the fastest growing in F1. With 3 GPs on American soil, Austin, Miami, and Las Vegas, and increasingly popular broadcasts, putting an American pilot at the wheel, it would be the perfect move to attract local audiences, win national sponsors, and reinforce the Cadillac project's identity as a true emblem of American motorsports. And it is in this scenario that the name of Colton Herta is gaining momentum again. The young IndyCar driver is seen by many as the great American promise of the current generation. Talented, bold, charismatic, and already tested in some private sessions with F1 cars, Herta has been monitored for years by the big Formula One teams. In 2022, he almost got a spot at AlphaTauri, but came up against the FIA's requirements regarding the super license, that mandatory document to race in F1, and that depends on a combination of points earned in the lower categories. The situation today is different. With more experience accumulated in Indy and consistent results, Herta is already close to meeting the requirements and could, indeed, make his debut in 2026 with Cadillac. Or praise is already running. The Formula One calendar, especially in a pre-regulatory year like 2026, does not forgive delays. For Cadillac, which is entering the grid from scratch, without inheriting the technical structure of any existing team, time has become the most valuable resource. And that is why things are in turmoil behind the scenes. For a project that will debut in a new technical cycle of Formula One, defining at least one pilot in advance is essential so that he can participate in the development of the car from the beginning. We are talking about technical meetings, feedback in the simulators, ergonomic tests in the cockpit, adjustments to the driving style, all of this still in 2025, with a direct impact on the performance of 2026. And if Cadillac really is targeting someone like Valtteri Bottas, for example, this decision needs to be made as soon as possible, because other teams are also watching, and missing the timing could mean losing the driver. The market is sharp, and no one wants to be left behind when the musical chairs really start. So tell me in the comments, who would you choose to form the perfect Cadillac duo in 2026? And leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything.